Most dealers claim to sell the best or nicest cars, but I haven't seen anyone explain how they do this. To be honest, that makes me a little suspicious.
That's a great point, Michelle. It probably should make you a little suspicious. Finding the nicest used cars takes a lot of work and requires a big time commitment.
Sounds like you have to kiss a lot of frogs to find that, Prince.
That's a great analogy, except we usually don't kiss the cars, just on special occasions. But we do have to weed through a lot of vehicles to find the nicest ones.
Can you explain how we find the nicest cars?
Absolutely. We have 3 full-time vehicle buyers with decades of experience that are focused on finding vehicles that meet our strict criteria. In order to get the selection we need, we mainly buy at auctions throughout Texas. Now I know some people are apprehensive about auction vehicles and have a negative perception about a vehicle that goes through the auction, but this is really unfounded. The truth is the auctions are kind of a clearinghouse for wholesale vehicles.
For instance, if a Chevy dealer takes a 5-year-old BMW with 60,000 miles in on trade, they probably won't sell this retail as it doesn't fit their model. Many of the new car dealerships are owned by large corporate groups who mandate that all trade-ins must be sold through auctions. They do this to eliminate kickbacks and other under-the-table arrangements on the sale of their wholesale vehicles. The truth is that most wholesale vehicles are sold through a dealer auction, whether they are quality vehicles or problem vehicles. It's the buying dealer's responsibility to identify the good apples and eliminate the bad apples.
The trick is thoroughly inspecting the vehicles before purchasing in order to make sure that you only buy the good ones. This is time consuming, and it's why we have 3 buyers to only buy 20 to 25 vehicles per week. Every Monday we review all the auction listings in Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, and Austin for that week. Based on that, we schedule our buyers' travel. Generally, there are 5,000 or more vehicles that we review. We then narrow this down to about 300 vehicles. Next, we travel to the auctions and we personally inspect those 300 vehicles before the auction. This then reduces the 300 vehicles down to those that meet our condition criteria. We thoroughly inspect the following items before we bid on or purchase any vehicle. 1, we're checking for previous accident damage or paint work. We use paint meters to help determine if the vehicle has any previous paint work. We also check the Carfax before we buy every vehicle. 2, we check all the fluids and the maintenance indicators to determine if the vehicle was properly maintained. If you know where to look, there are some easy indicators to pick up on. 3, we thoroughly review the interior and exterior condition. Vehicles that were poorly maintained cosmetically were most likely also poorly maintained mechanically. Needless to say, we stay away from those. Our inspections usually reduce the 300 selected vehicles down to around 100 that meet our actual criteria. Next, we review the average auction sale prices, the book values, and the retail market prices to determine our maximum bid. Out of these 100, we usually end up buying 20 to 25 vehicles.
That's how we buy 20 to 25 of the nicest vehicles at the lowest price every week. That's a lot of work. It's no wonder most dealers don't do it that way. They generally only go to 1 or 2 auctions and/or work with a few other dealers to get their trade-ins. The problem with this approach is it limits the dealer's selection, and they end up buying vehicles that aren't really what their customers want, either in terms of make and model, condition, or price. I hope this helps give you some understanding about where used cars come from and auction vehicles. Just remember, the vehicles that we pass over end up at other dealers, and many times are listed right next to ours on AutoTrader, Cars.com, and Craigslist.